The last stage, the stage you're reaching for, when you get beyond the separation, stage 1, when you get through stage 2, which is my guidance versus yours, and get through stage 3, which is my goal is not to stop movement, but to learn to go with movement. Then the last stage, where you want to hang out, is appreciation. You want to hang out in gratitude. You want to hang out in, I'm tired of telling God the way I want my life to look in order for me to be happy that I'm alive. Instead, I'll take life just the way it is. I cannot believe how many people I hear, well, I'll just make the best of my life. What do you call that? What's the matter with us? Because they didn't get the romance they want, or they didn't get the job they, quote, are resigned to, quote, making the best of their life. I remember someone who had a near-death experience told me that during the near-death experience, he was asked a question about seeing his own life. And he had a life review. And the question was, do you want to see the other side of the life review? And he said yes, largely because he didn't know what exactly he was asking to see. But the life review is that you see apparently every single choice you ever made, every conversation you ever had, everything is passed by you. But that's not really what caused him anguish. It's that he was shown what could have been had he chosen otherwise. That the many times where he was basking in self-pity, had he in those moments said, what is the matter with me? I'm alive and life is enough to celebrate, thank you, God. That became his practice. Just the appreciation of life becomes your spiritual practice. That would have changed the opportunities that could have come to him. It would have changed the people he could have met had he simply lived in gratitude, had he simply lived in appreciation. I think that's the most challenging form of spiritual discipline, is to live in gratitude. And then you go about your life as if it's ordinary, knowing that your interior is now extraordinary for the rest of your life. There'll be nothing ordinary about your inner life from that point on. You'll start having richer dreams. You start living in this wonderful place that says a miracle is not a miracle. A miracle is a word for people who are unfortunately surprised by the presence of God. And you start living in this life that says, anything's possible, anytime, any place. And that's all there's to it. And that's where I'm living. That's where I'm living. And that becomes your spiritual discipline, appreciation, and this whole notion that anything's possible, and you know the truth. I am where I'm supposed to be. When I'm supposed to change jobs, it'll happen. If I need direction, that'll happen. But you have to be strong enough to know when you're sabotaging guidance. I consider it to be a fact to say to you that guidance is nonstop, that you don't really have to do anything, chant like candles, om. I don't believe that's necessary at all. I think those are acts that people do to develop the courage to listen to guidance. As a matter of fact, I think they're incredible blockades to guidance. That in fact, nothing is more available or fluid than guidance. It's just that when you don't like what you're hearing, you start with the candles, and you start with the oming, and you start with the chanting, and then you say, I know I'm blocked. So I'm going to give you some advice about that. When you, in your spiritual practice, tell yourself you're blocked, then write down what would be the most frightening guidance you could hear in that moment. What would scare you the most? And write it down in your journal. and make yourself look at it. Because if you can do that, and that's really the guidance that you are supposed to follow, once you have the courage to write it down, that's almost like signing a contract that says, okay, I'll do it. And then it won't let you go. There really is no such thing as being blocked. If you genuinely can look at yourself and say, I can't hear a thing, there isn't anything that I can be told that I'm afraid of, and that's genuinely true, then you're in the deep space where you have to wait. Then you have to wait, and you're in endurance. You must endure waiting. Waiting can last a week. It can last 10 years. It can last 30 years. And that's what's true. Sometimes you wait because the greatest action that's going to be expected from you isn't even going to begin till you're 60. And you're in preparation for it. You're in preparation. What kind of preparation? You're learning to trust. You're learning to trust. You're learning to be that kind of spiritual being who transmits gorgeous light without needing acknowledgement that that's what you're doing. Where you have the capacity to become invisible. That's the direction of consciousness. To become invisible and allow God to work through you no matter what you're doing, whether you're selling shoes or hosting an international political arena. It doesn't matter. It's all the same, where you see everything as all the same, playing an equal part in the tapestry of human evolution. There is no small role. There is no small role. That is the truth